in case. But how did I get into coaching, or what made me start coaching?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Honestly, it's a weird one. I think I always wanted to coach, but I grew up with like a single mom, and she was always she was kind of like my inspiration for basketball, but she was always like coaching and helping out. So I would be at the like I was at the gym all the time because she was young when she had me. So she was in college when I was like on a tricycle. That's like where I learned to ride a bike. I
Yeah.
was just around it all the time. So I was always on the sideline while she was practicing. So I was with the
Okay.
coaches. I was just around it. I've always been around it. Then as I got a little bit older, um, she was coaching some high school teams, like just like AAU teams, whatever. She would coach, and so I would go to the practices, and I would get to jump into the practices and help with like the older girls that she had. And I always thought that was cool. And then as I got to high school, we always ran basketball camps, and I would be one of the players that would always like volunteer and help with the camps. And I just enjoyed coaching and learning. And then I've done that ever since. So I've probably been coaching like basketball camp style coaching. Geez, since high school, since like my ninth grade year of high school.
Okay.
And I've probably done that every year in some form or fashion. But then I got to a point where when I was in college, I would do it for the summer to make some money. Didn't have NIL back then.
Mm.
We had to back
Yeah.
in my day.
Yeah.
So I would work camps and would stay be like overnight camps. So I'd be like a camp counselor. But I just loved the process. And then I had one of the camps that I was working for, the guy said to me, he's like, man, you're really passionate about this. He's like, if you want to, one day you could be a good coach. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I ever want to coach, but I just loved
Yeah.
doing that and helping out. And then it was, yeah, getting overseas. I talked about this on my stream, but I had an opportunity. I kept wanting to level up in the level that I was at the leagues that I was playing in, and I wanted to play at the highest level. And then there was the year I had my son. I was 24 years old, and my thinking kind of just completely shifted from I want to travel, I want to play everywhere, I want to do everything like the highest level I can, and it shifted to like I want to be secure. I want to make decisions that are a lot more like I got to start thinking ahead, thinking about like the future a bit more. So the next job that I took, instead of only thinking about the basketball side of it, which is what I did before, I was like, okay, I want to play somewhere to where I can get paid year round. So rather than just for the season, the 4 months, 5 months of the season, I want to get paid for the full year. So the club I went to offered me a role coaching and playing. So
Oh, okay.
it wasn't necessarily to play at a higher level because I had opportunities to do that. But again, it was only that covers 5 months out of the year. If I get injured, I get sent home. There's just so much more
Yeah.
risk. I was like, okay, I'll play at a lower level because it's a better business decision for me, long-term business
Yeah.
decision. And it ended up being one of the best decisions of my life because I got access to coaching an entire club, which was 30. We had 30 at the time. We started with 18 teams, but we built up to around 34, I think. So I always just say 30 on average. But I had access to coaching that many, 300 players a year, setting the offense, defense, the whole philosophy for the club, organizing the games, the schedules, just everything. So it's kind of like being an athletic director, like what we have here in America, but it was just for basketball over there. So I did that and I played. So 2 years of playing, 3 years of playing, and then did that. So I've been doing that I did that for 9.5 years, 10 years, and I played for around the same amount of time.
Okay. It's interesting that how you also mentioned like well, yeah, I guess just the concept of like iteration and like you kind of just go in a direction and you end up changing things a little bit along the way. Like you played professional basketball, that was like the goal, and then you wanted to play at the highest level, but then things changed. You took a slightly different route and it ended up leading somewhere. And I feel like I struggled with that for a while. Like I guess not having a clear sense of knowing exactly what I wanted to do with like content and basketball in general. But now I'm figuring out that like nobody really does, and they kind of just
No one knows what they're doing, man.
just move in a certain direction and figure out things along the way. So yeah, that's been something that's been like a big, I guess, something that I've like found solace in, or like just made me feel more comfortable when I hear stories like that. It just lets me know that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one, trying to figure things out. And I remember in our last conversation, you mentioned, or you asked me what my goals were, and
Yep.
I looked into it for NCAA and NAIA. Pretty much, it's from what I understood, it's up to like some sort of board of directors or some like athletic directors that get to make that determination. Like the general rule is, like you said, 5 years after you start college, but they're able to make exceptions. Like it's not illegal for somebody who hadn't or has been out of college for like 10 years. It's not completely against the rules. It's just generally it's less likely to happen. So I have looked into that. And
Yeah.
NAIA is usually a lot more forgiving with that as well than NCAA.
Yep. Yeah. So you probably got to send something in to like to appeal. Is that what they call it? An appeals.
I,
Go
I'm
ahead.
not sure. I'm not sure. I look from what I said when I saw there's like an application that I can submit, and then they'll review it, and then after that determination, then I can maybe appeal it if they say no at first.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I figured that was the case. And again, like a lot more lenient with that stuff now. Back in the day, it's just like absolutely not. But yeah, there's hopefully good signs that with just how many pros we're seeing step back into the scene. So I
Yeah,
couldn't see them having too big of an issue with with you if they're letting
yeah,
NBA draft picks enter back into college.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
Go ahead.
I also wanted to ask, what do you think makes a good coach? Because also, you said you think I'd be a good coach one day because I'm having to learn like all the little details and nuances that the people that are just more naturally athletically inclined don't usually learn. And I kind of struggle with like, I guess, gauging where I'm at with basketball development, because I have a lot of people, it's like 50-50 in my comments. Half the people are giving me advice and telling me what I need to do, and the other half are asking for advice. How can they get to where I'm at? So that's been something that I struggle with. It's like I feel like I'm not good enough to be giving advice to people yet, but I still want to help in some capacity.
Yeah, it's funny. I've said this time and time again. The best coaches I've ever worked with are the coaches that don't think they're that good. Because what I think makes a good coach is the quest for more knowledge, the quest to be better, the quest to like constantly improve and evolve. And I think the most important thing that we miss in sports, especially in basketball, everyone thinks, and I thought this too. So when I took that job as a coaching director, I was for sure I'm the best person ever for this job because I know more X's and O's than anybody. And it's going to be, I'm going to put this system in. This is how we're going to run things. This is what we're going to do. And then quickly realize like, oh yeah, most 80-90% of my day is filled with dealing with people.
Mm,
So what makes a good coach is like communication, leadership, accountability, treating people as people, and then the basketball side of it after. Like having basketball knowledge, understanding, like having basketball experience, all that stuff is great, but that unfortunately that comes after, oddly enough. So all the coaches I've worked with that didn't think they were very good, I probably learned more from them because I ask a lot of questions. They
yeah.
want help with a lot of things, so I've got to show my work. I can't just say a coach that thinks they're really good. I ran into this a lot. I'd say, for example, I'd just be like, hey, do you know we're going to run flex offense? Can you go run that down there? And they're like, yep, got it. And this guy might have no clue, but he doesn't want to ask and he doesn't want to seem like he doesn't know it. So he goes down there and just whatever the kids are working on, they're working on. Whereas a coach that doesn't know what flex offense is and they don't think they're very good, they'll say, hey, I don't know flex. Can you come show me? Oh yeah, of course. I'll come down there and show you. And they're watching to learn. Okay. Okay. Oh, wait. So is it a cross screen, down screen or down screen cross? Well, you could do, oh, okay. So, and then what happens here? And then I'm like, oh, wait, what does happen there? I've just taught it so much. I've forgot some of these things. No, this happens. Yep. So I'm learning. I'm having to reiterate. I'm having to get better with communication. They're learning. And then now they know flex offense. Now they can teach it. Whereas that coach that thought they knew everything and has only been running a 2-3 zone his whole life and just runs one offense and that's all he's ever done, but he's coached for 50 years, he's still stuck back there teaching these kids some other thing and these kids being lost because he doesn't want to admit. So I think there's a lot that goes into it. Another really quick story. I was just now helping maybe 3-4 months ago. I was just helping with an AAU tryout. So they had me run their tryouts so that the coaches could actually do the selections. So I planned the tryouts, like planned the drills, the things that we would do, and I ran it. And I had volunteer coaches that were working for me just to help run the drills so that the actual coaches could just walk around and evaluate. And there was maybe 8 coaches that I had available. And there was one that was just like a family. It was a mom and a dad. And every other coach in there, when I was going through the rundown, hey, this is what we're going to do. Yep, we're going to go through this. If you don't understand it, don't worry. I'm going to run through it on the court. But just, I was just showing it all on the board. I know for a fact none of them know what we were doing because it's not stuff we typically do here in America. But I was like, any questions? Nah, easy enough. I got it. And then as we start walking out there, the mom came up to me and was like, hey, really sorry. I was just really embarrassed to ask. But she's like, I'm so out of my depth. I don't know what I'm doing. And I was like, no, you're fine. I'll run it all. I just need you at the station and just whatever. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, you've got this. I promise. Just I'll run it and you'll be fine. I go to the main gym just because they're doing telling the parents what's going to be happening. I walk back into the other gym. 7 of the coaches are all doing their own thing. All this, I don't know what they're all doing their own thing while she's just waiting because she was listening to what I was saying in the meeting. She's just waiting. And I was like, wait, what are they doing? She's like, I don't know. They all just started coaching. And I was like, oh my gosh. So these were all guys and all people that think they know so much. They've coached forever. They have no questions. They know what we're doing. And then the one that didn't know what was going on because she asked the questions and she was just waiting to be told what to do was actually the only one doing the right thing. So they all got started, but they were running all this weird different stuff. So I had to bring it back in. Hey guys, here's what we're doing today. We're actually not doing that. So then it made those coaches kind of look bad. No, we're not doing that. Here's what we're doing. Okay, break up into your stations. Here's what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, all that to say, I know I ramble all the time, but all that to say, like the best coaches I've worked with are the ones that don't think they're that good and they're over themselves. You probably heard Greg Popovich talk about that with superstars. He's like, you got to be over yourself. You got to be over your ego. I think that's the biggest thing. And then like, you're young, man. You got so much time. So right now you probably are helping people on their journey already. You say you started coaching now. How old are you?
26.
Most people don't really get into coaching till 30s or 40s. So by the time you're 36, you'll be like, yeah, I've been coaching for 10 years. When most people are usually just getting into coaching because their kids are getting into sports or whatever. So you think you're behind, but you're so much further ahead.
Okay. That makes sense. And I kind of lost my train of thought, but I do have another question. I took some notes here.
My bad. I ramble.
I took some notes here because I wanted to make sure I had at least a few questions that I really wanted to make sure that we got to today. So, okay. When in the last interview, I was asking you about, or basically, do you think that my goals were realistic or reasonable? And before I even finished, you said yes, before I even finished the question. So I wanted to ask you, like, why, like, where does that, was there something about like something that I said in one of my videos that made you believe that? Or is that just a general life belief that you have that most people can accomplish most things that they put their mind to?
Well, it's the same thing that we just talked about. You're like, so I don't know, Nesco in the one-on-one scene. So Nesco got shot 8 times.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago. Yeah. He's already like back top 5 player. And I was having a conversation with him. I was like, dude, you got to put up more content. You got to record. You got to do this. He's like, I know, but it's just hard. And he's like, I don't want to be in front of the camera and whatever. And I'm like, you got shot 8 times. Yeah. Like, you've been through so much more than most people ever will. And for him, it's normal though. So he doesn't see it as like a really big achievement. It's just a normal thing. So same for you. Like, dude, you were over 300 pounds. You literally broke the scale. Yeah. And just by the amount of effort and work that you've put in to get where you're at, like, the things that are going to stand in your way are going to be things that are out of your control. So you saying, I want to get back to college. And I'm like, oh yeah, if it's legal and they allow you
Yeah.
to do it, like you're good enough to play in college. I've been around guys that have way less work ethic and also weren't good. At least you have the work ethic. At least you're going to keep improving.
Yeah.
At least I haven't met you, but it's like you seem like a good person. And again, I always go back to character. Like that stuff goes so much further. So like for me, it's like when someone says they have some goals, I'm like, they're not, most of those goals aren't very far fetched.
Mhm.
The only thing usually stopping us from reaching goals, like a lot of it is race and place, right?
Right.
So it's like where you were born and who you were born to is usually going to determine like how successful you are. Um, and so I always believe that. But then there's a certain level of work effort within that that's going to determine, okay, within that little subset of where I'm at, how successful can I be? And then there's those outliers that can go the NBA. If you said you want to go to the NBA, I'm like, I mean, that's those are just the
Yeah.
outliers.
Yeah.
But to me, college, I mean, there's thousands of colleges. You just have to find the place that's gonna work for you. You have to find the place that you can offer something that they need. And it's just about being diligent and being resilient enough to like find that perfect fit. For me, I
Yeah.
walked on, and looking back on it, I'm like, damn, I was probably way too talented to walk on, but I just didn't find the right situations. And then when I finally did, I walked on, and they ended up working out for me. So I've kind of just been in your same situation a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that actually reminded me of what my question was. What do you think coaches are typically looking for when they're like recruiting or like looking at a walkout and a tryout, things like that? What are they looking at? Because I know it's this kind of like a 50-50. Like half the people I see say like go out there and just be as aggressive as possible. And then the other half of people say just do all of the not intangibles per se, but just give effort, be a team player, show the like work ethic and that you're just willing to contribute to the team.
So a few things here. So first and foremost, they're looking for a freak athlete and a player that jumps out at them straight away.
Mm.
So most coaches are just looking for that. If they put you out there on the court, you're the best player and you're dazzling everyone and you're by and far head and shoulders above everyone, that's typically what people are looking for, and that's what they're hoping for at tryouts. No coaches are really like, okay, I'm going to see, like if you're running the right play and you're doing the right things. Typically, coaches aren't like, oh, let's see if he spaces to the corner and hits this three. All right, let's see if he back. They're not. They're just usually not looking for that, unless you go talk to them first. Hey, what is it you guys are looking for? Like, what do you need? Oh, well, we're needing screeners. We need rebounders. John Calipari said that yesterday. He's like, if we got a guard that's averaging 8 rebounds, I promise you he's going to play a lot. So if you hear that and you're going to go try out for Coach Calipari, are you going to try to be the best 3-point shooter, or are you going to try to get the most rebounds?
Yeah.
And the amount of players that I've spoken to over the years that they never thought about doing that, just go ask the coach. Go up to him and go, hey, what is it you guys are looking for? Because I want to help the team, and I'll do whatever it takes to help the team. And if he says we need rebounders, go be the best rebounder. We need screeners, go be the best screener. I'm not sure if you saw my conversation with my college coach, Coach Deal.
I want to say I saw, like, did you post the shorts of it, like clips of it?
Yeah, I think so. I think I posted a full thing on Patreon, but yeah, 3-4 months ago. But he said that they signed. He was like, the college landscape has changed a little bit. They don't typically sign freshmen anymore, just because just the nature of the beast and with NIL and all that. But he said the only freshman we signed this year was a kid that came in and he was the hardest worker, and he just was setting a ton of screens and tryouts. Because he's like, we already have our scores. We're already recruiting guys that are juniors that are going to be a scorer. And he's like, but what the freshmen have that those guys don't have is they got young legs, energy, like they want to play. And he's like, if you're a freshman stepping in, like do those things. Go be the hard worker. Go be that guy, the energy guy. But set screens, like get other people open. How can I help these other guys be successful? Because most of those teams already have their guys. So if you are the best player, if you think you can walk into the gym and dominate, go dominate. But if you're not that, you got to find another thing. So go speak to the coach, ask what they're looking for. And it sounds cliche, but it is like, if you're the hardest worker, Some teams will just take a chance.
Okay. Thank you. That definitely gives me something to think about. But I guess just from like a general training perspective, so I know that you always emphasize strength and conditioning as like one of the most important aspects of basketball. So what do you think is like an ideal split in terms of like, say I'm putting in 20 hours a week, like training, like how much of that should be skill development and how much of that is strength and conditioning? And then when you do your conditioning, is it like you just going hard doing drills, or do you do like explicit, like running up the bleachers or doing sprints or like running a few miles for cardio? Like how do you usually, how did you do that? Or
Yeah, those are good questions. It's going to be different based on your level and based on each individual person, what you need. I can tell you quickly is what I did as a pro. I can tell you what we did in college, but then I can tell you what I generally just recommend to people. So when I was playing overseas, it was practice. So like a team practice
right.
scenario, like every day. But then I did my own on court practice. So I did my own on court practice individually, but I also did weights. So it'd be about an hour of my own practice. So you can call that skills or just shooting or whatever. And then I did an hour and a half probably of weights. And then once a week, so I would do that Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, I would do conditioning by itself. So I would run stairs. So I found for me personally, stairs was just like the most explosive. I hated running long distance. It didn't translate for me into basketball, but running stairs really helped me build my explosiveness, build my kind of basketball conditioning. So I do that once a week on a Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday, again, same thing. So I would be going, that's pretty much how I trained overseas. And then honestly, sometimes I'd still lift on a Saturday, Sunday. But if it was in season, we would have our games on the Saturday or Sunday.
Right.
So I pretty much lifted. I took strength and conditioning extremely serious, but it's also because I liked it. I really liked being in the weight room and I enjoyed being away, but I was also paid full time. That was my full time job.
Yeah.
So that's not realistic for most people. But if you want to make it overseas, and that's what you're probably going to have to do, that's the full time requirement. College, you're typically going to have your team practice every single day. Depending on what college you go to, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Some colleges do group trainings, individuals. If you're not going to a high level, most colleges aren't run very well. You'll probably just do your team training every day, 2.5 hours. Most of them probably won't make you go to the weight room. They'll say they'll start it off at the beginning of the year and then they'll just die off. Like I've just been to 4 different colleges and that's what happens. And I've gone and visited college campuses and I've gone and helped with college teams, and most of them just aren't run very well if it's not a high level. But what I recommend, if you're doing 20 hours of working out, I think skill development should be the smallest portion of that. So 10%, maybe 10% of what you're doing should be skill development. I think the majority of what you should be doing is playing if you can, because that's going to cover a lot of skills. That's going to cover a lot of conditioning, and it's more fun. And it's going to get you on the court, like playing with other players and identifying problems. You're going to identify problems. And when you identify those problems and playing, now that's what you can go focus on when you do your skills stuff. So I would say 10% of the time on skills stuff, 40% of the time on playing, 40 to 50, and then the other rest of that time, strength and conditioning.
Okay.
It's somewhere close to that.
Okay.
Not exactly. You can tweak it and change it like based on what you want to do or what your goals are, but somewhere close to that. And the reason I say 10% skills is because I don't think skills need to be mutually exclusive to like what you're doing. When you're doing your sessions, it's not just building your skills. You're also doing it because you're continuing to, you have your weight goal, you have your conditioning goal. You're like, there's more involved there. Whereas 30% of your time spent on skills, it's not going to translate to 30% better at skills.
Right. So would you consider something like if I'm repping out 1 dribble pull-ups and I'm like jogging back and forth, getting my own rebound, would you consider that to be just skill work? Or is it like, I know there is some conditioning, but
I'd say that's more conditioning than skill work.
Okay.
Skill work to me is very intentional, highly focused skills. So if you're doing one dribble pull-ups, it would be starting wherever you're working on starting from. So maybe from a dribble, maybe from triple threat, very intentional steps, full speed, very intentional dribble, boom, boom, everything's perfect. My gather, I'm like getting into my gather the right way, and I'm
Yeah.
exploding. Everything's game pace. I'm resting. I get the ball. I go back up to the top. I do it again. Rep that up. Boom. Full speed. Full speed. I'm doing that 5 times going right, 5 times going left. I'm tired. I'm going to
Yeah.
shoot some free throws. I'm going to go into the next thing. Okay. One dribble to the right, hesitation, layup. It's going to build off of that, what we just worked on, but you're building
Yeah.
on to the next skill. And again, it's still a lot of conditioning, but you're very, very focused and very intentional. Ball handling, 2-ball handling, tennis ball, whatever, that sort of stuff, that goes in there as well. Again, all that stuff, like 10% of that. But then, like, if you're doing a workout, like I post those Chris Gatlin workouts, to me, that's more of a workout. It's more of conditioning. You get the ball in your hands, get a touch and feel, get some rhythm going. It's good, but I don't think that's going to meaningfully make you a better player. It's not like you worked on your skills.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I guess most of but the way you described it, like you almost described like my daily workout. It's like one dribble pull up, and then I'll like go into like a counter, and then I usually do just like a star drill. I'm pretty sure you're familiar. I do a lot of that. But
Yep.
yeah, and then Sundays is like when I work out with my trainer, and that's when he goes over like all the details, and I kind of just rep out whatever I learned that week throughout the week for the most part. So I guess I mean, yeah, I do really enjoy playing, but where I live currently, it's very hard to play consistently, to find consistent runs. Like like at the parks, I think I maybe played against people like 3 times, and it was like some high schoolers. But other
Mhm.
than that, if you're not in like a men's league or something, then there's pretty much no pickup games. Like the gym I go to, they set up pickleball every morning at 7. So like the basketball people have to be out by 7, and then I think they have runs like later in the day usually, but I work until usually like 5 or 6, and then I go to sleep pretty early, so I usually don't do that. So maybe I'll like switch my schedule up a bit or something to so I can just get in more runs, because that was actually like the majority of the basketball I played until maybe 2 years ago was just like pickup games at parks and stuff, and like that I feel like I did get a lot better, and I lost a lot of weight in that process, but and I'm not sure how much experience you have with it, but especially in the LA area, I grew up in Compton and played in a lot of a lot of parks and gyms in the LA area. If people don't know you, like they don't want to pass you the ball. Everybody thinks
Yeah.
they're the best player on the court. Like, yeah, so there was a lot of times where it was like frustrating, where I'm just trying to get some game reps, and I'm not touching the ball, or like I might miss one shot, and now they're like, oh, he sucks, don't pass him the ball anymore. So it was a lot of that, and then I eventually like kind of just stuck to working out by myself. And here and there, I'll meet people. Like Monday, I played against a guy at the gym, and he was pretty good, and that was fun. We played like maybe 3 games of ones. I was actually right about to leave, and and he asked me to play, and I ended up staying like an extra 45 minutes. But yeah, it was fun. It was definitely tiring. I was dead after that, but it was a good time for sure.
Yeah, I think, like I said, that what I gave was like an ideal if I could make up a plan,
Yeah,
but everyone's situation is so different. That's why I try not to give that to most people, because it's just everyone's situation is just different. You got to figure it
yeah,
out. But yeah, I do think seeking out a way to play against an opponent it just has to be something that's prioritized. Even if it's 1-on-1, 3-on-3 is excellent. If you could find a group of 5 other players like that, that's a really good way to improve.
yeah,
Um, and it simulates a lot of stuff that happens in 5-on-5, except you get the ball a lot more. You're a lot
yeah,
more involved. So 3-on-3 is a great way to be involved, and it's small sided games. It's one of the most efficient ways to teach players how to play basketball. Um,
mhm,
so yeah, if you can find some 3-on-3 games, anything I think is super beneficial. But if you don't have that, then it's like, yeah, working out by yourself. Like I said, when I was overseas, that's why I did that every day. I worked out by myself every day because other people weren't wanting to work out. And I was just
yeah,
obsessed with it. And that's what I did full time. So
yeah,
when I could get other imports in there, It was great. Now we can do some one-on-one, we can do some 2-on-2s, some 3-on-3s, but sometimes we could get some 5-on-5 during the summer, but most of the time it was me by myself too. So I feel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's happened to me probably 5 times at this point where I'll like meet somebody, like they'll ask me to play ones, we'll play a few games, and then like after the games, they'll ask like what my name is, like did I play anywhere? I tell them no. Like they're like, oh, we'll work out, like just get my number down or something, and then I just never see them again. Like they just don't show up anymore. It's happened to me so many times. I'm like, damn, am I really like the only person that's like consistently playing here? Like there's usually like some kids on the other side that are working out with like a trainer and they're there like almost every day. But other than that, there's it's kind of like a rotation of like 2 or 3 people that show up like once or twice a week, and then other than that it's like random people like once every 3 weeks, and there's no like consistent people. So I haven't been able to find that, at least not here. But I
Yeah,
also wanted to
it's
to
tough.
ask, um with, I guess, yeah, just like where do you think that confidence with basketball comes from, like just having confidence in your game and being able to play free? Do you think it comes from just experience, or does it come from like a combination of that and like putting in the work to get better?
Yeah, both of those things. I think there's a few ways confidence can happen. I think the most effective way is like seeing success.
Mm,
So when you see success, you'll feel a lot more confident. But how that comes about, it's like it just depends. Some people had good mentors around them, really good coaching that would set
yeah,
them up for success. So it would build that confidence. Some people were just ultimately overly, maybe delusionally confident,
yeah, yeah,
and they were successful that way. So then they just carry that with them their whole life. I was a person that I wasn't very confident because I just assumed, like when you're younger, you assume like all the adults have it figured out. So I
yeah,
listened to my coaches and they're like, don't shoot threes. Or it's like, don't do this and none of that. I used to play 2K all the time. And I'm like, no, that's a good shot. That's a good play. We could get a back screen here. I felt like I knew more about basketball than a lot of the people around me, but I never felt like I did
mm,
because I didn't have that confidence because I'm like, they've got it figured out. I don't. And again, it wasn't really until I got to my JUCO, so my first year of school, and I got cut from the team. And I thought I was doing all the right things. I'm passing the ball around. I'm being nice. I'm not fouling people. They go for layups. I move out of the way. I'm not being mean. And why did I get cut? And I realized like, oh, it's because I'm soft. I'm not nice. I was soft. And so what happened for me was I got really mad that I got cut. So I started training. Like I took that with me into my weightlifting. So when I go lift weights now, I lift weights a little harder. Whenever I go run, I run a little harder. Whenever I play one-on-one, I want to win now. I used to just play for fun. Now I want to win because I just
yeah,
got cut. I suck. I'm soft. I want to win. And then for years, it was me thinking of my college coach in my head, like basically like water boy telling me I
yeah,
sucked. And so I had to I just used that motivation to work really hard, and no one's outworking me. I knew no one was outworking me now because I've seen what hard work is because I've been to college, but now I know I'm doing more. So then when I got put in front of someone else, I just had that ultimate confidence because I'm like, you did not work harder than me. And I've already been cut before. So what do I have to lose?
mm,
So for me, it was like back against the wall and the preparation that I put in. For a lot of my other teammates I've played with over the years, there's been guys that like weren't good at all. And not saying wasn't good at all, but I'm like, man, you played Division 1 basketball? And he's like, yeah, I played Division 1. I was top 100 in high school. And I'm like, you can't do a left hand layup, So, but he had ultimate confidence. His dad was a coach. Um, his dad got him into college, had good connections, and he always thought he was better than what he actually was. But it was just he had confidence because he had good people, good mentors. He had the machine around him. I had those situations a lot. So everyone's journey is a little different. But I think I like the preparation aspect of it because that's actually in your control.
yeah,
If I can make 8 out of 10 threes wide open over and over and over, when I get into a game, if I'm open and I shoot it, I don't care if I make or miss. I know I can make 8 out of 10. I've done this
mm,
thousands of times. I'm confident in my shot. The
yeah,
coach can yell, no, no, that's a bad shot. Okay. What was the quote? You wasn't with me shooting in the gym?
yeah, yeah,
So I think there's a few ways you can get confidence. You seem like you're in a situation where like you got to figure it out yourself. All right, well, it's going to be the hard work and the preparation and seeing some success,
Yeah.
knocking down those small goals that we talked about.
Yeah. I feel like I'm getting better about it, especially the last year or so. But I think, yeah, where a lot of the struggles came from or what made me, I guess, doubt myself was like I tried out for the team in high school. I started playing in some capacity when I was 14. And then by like, yeah, I guess summer after my sophomore year of high school, that's when I really like wanted to get better. I was still gaining weight at the time, actually, even though I was playing for hours a day. But yeah, I just really liked basketball, so I would just shoot all the time, like at the park by my house. Like I shot like Lonzo. Actually, I had the over here on the side of my face, but I ended up becoming a pretty decent shooter, and I tried out junior year, didn't make it, and then senior year as well. In the scrimmage during tryouts, I hit a game winner too, and I was like, "There's no way I didn't make the team after that." I was more skilled than pretty much like my high school was not good at all at basketball. Like a lot of the kids, they barely played basketball, and they just like threw them on the team because they look competent. But yeah, like the team wasn't good. So I was like, there's no way I didn't make the team like my senior year. And then when they post that list of the names on the door when it's time to determine who made the team and my name wasn't on there. And that was like really disheartening for me at the time because I was like, what more could I have done? I was more skilled than most of the people, and especially like shooting, like that was the biggest weakness for the high school team. We had a couple guys that were pretty athletic, and yeah, like there was no spacing for them. So even though they could drive, like nobody on the team could shoot. So I was like, there's no way I fit the gap, and I did well in tryout. And then just like after that, still being over 300 pounds as a young adult and playing in pickup games and nobody wanting me on their team, like things like that really hurt my confidence. But I guess as I've like continued to lose weight and work on my game and like even something like when people ask me like, "Oh, what high school did you play on?" Like stuff like that kind of gives me confidence because like, "Oh, you think I played high school?" That's a compliment. That's a compliment in itself. So things like that have started to happen a lot more recently, and that's given me some confidence. Confidence, but also just getting that experience of playing in the men's league, my first organized basketball. That was yeah, there was a lot of struggles, a lot of ups and downs, but I definitely think going into next season, I'll be able to play a lot better. One, because I'm a little lighter, a bit more skilled, but also just having that confidence and that mentality that my trainer's been trying to like drill into my mind. Like, you've probably worked harder than everybody here on this court. There's no reason why you shouldn't be playing like it. Like he's been constantly telling me that because again, it's a men's league. Like some of the guys are pretty decent, but it's not like it's professional basketball. It's not super competitive. So most of the people are just playing for fun. They're not like training and stuff. And so like I guess I just need to be better about reminding myself of that I do put in a lot of time and a lot of work into this, and I should like play like that. And I guess give myself the green light to be aggressive and not feel bad about being selfish at times.
Yeah, it's interesting when you say like not feeling good enough or that you've done enough or people aren't, I guess, giving you that, I guess, kind of respect. But
Mm.
you'll never be good enough. Just to let you
Yeah,
know, no matter what you do, you'll never be good enough. So, me, like, I don't know if you see the comments, but I get comments all the time, and people are like, "Who is this guy talking like he never played at a high level, or he didn't go to the NBA, or whatever?" And it's just like I've been there, but because I know my journey, like I know it better than other people, so it doesn't
yeah,
bother me. I think that's the stuff that used to bother me uh, before I did ever play overseas. Before I did make it onto my last college team where I had success, and I felt like I really proved what I could do. And even after I proved
yeah,
it, it still wasn't good enough. Then I went overseas, and it's like, well, you're not in the NBA. And it's like, well, damn, oh, I got MVP. Well, you didn't. And it's like, okay, well, damn, like no matter what I do, it's not good enough.
yeah,
So what I do know is the players I played with, the players I played against, the coaches I've coached with, the coaches I've coached against, they will tell you I'm good enough. They will tell you they respect what I've done. And for me, it's like, okay, the people around me and the people that have had to guard me, the people that have had to play with me, those are the ones I care about. So your trainer who's working with you every week, it's like, that's the voice you got to listen to. He's seen your journey. Some dude on the internet that hasn't seen your journey or doesn't know anything about you, like, yeah, it typically says more about the person than it does about you. I always say, like, hurt people hurt people. You'll never be good enough. But then when you start thinking about it, like 500 people a year basically make it into the NBA. There's only been about 5,000 people ever to make it into the NBA. There are a lot of people that should have made it to the NBA that didn't for whatever reason. There's a lot of people that make it to the NBA that shouldn't be there. There's a lot of people in the NBA that will never make good coaches and don't actually understand basketball. There's a lot of people that never made it that could be some of the best coaches of all time. So I don't like the gatekeeping attitude. I don't like looking at people's resumes. I like seeing who they are as a person, seeing what their character is, because that's the part you have control of. You don't have control of the machine being behind you or the politics or all that other stuff. So like I said, race and place, like where you're born, who you're born to is going to basically say, like, this is about the level you're going to be at income wise and job you're going to get. But then within that, now whenever I start seeing people like, man, this guy came from here and went to here, it's really impressive to me. I don't care if you have $1 million, you went from 0 to 1,000. That's really impressive. Someone that went from 999,000 to $1 million, not that impressive. So when I talk about your journey, like, I keep bringing it back up, but I'm like, losing however much weight you've lost, that's not easy. That's a tough journey that a lot of people haven't done. So now that you've got that mentality, you've got the effort, you've got the will to do some stuff, just apply that to other things.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that they just will not ever take control of their own lives. They won't ever do that, but they're really quick to sit online and tell other people what they haven't done and what they can't be. So just remember that you'll never be good enough. But again, the people around you, you need to surround yourself with like a few people that are ahead of you that have accomplished what you want to accomplish. You need to surround yourself with some people that haven't accomplished what you've accomplished. And so you need to help those people that are just below you. So get them to your level. And then hopefully those people that are at the level you want to get to pull you up to their level. And then you do it again. You find another mentor that's like, hey, what's the next level? Get me to that next level. And I'm going to bring these people along to the level I'm at.
That just reminded me of like how important I think beliefs are. And I think that like a lot of people think that beliefs are kind of set in stone, but they can definitely change over time. And I've definitely experienced it within myself. Like I genuinely, for the majority of my life, probably until I saw after the first time I fasted for a couple of days and I saw the scale go down, up until that point, I genuinely believed that I couldn't lose weight, that it wasn't possible for me. Like everybody in my family's been overweight. I've been overweight my whole life. Like this is just predetermined. It's just genetics or whatever it is. I genuinely didn't believe that it was possible until I saw it. And then like once I saw that initial like drop in the scale, I'm like, oh, this is possible. Like I've just been telling myself that it wasn't this whole time. And I just proved myself wrong. So that just made me question, like, what other beliefs do I have that aren't true, but I've just been telling myself them for so long that I just haven't questioned them, you know? So like things like that remind me like, okay, maybe like, yes, even something saying like sports wasn't meant for me, like being an athlete wasn't meant for me. Like why is that the case? Like, and just really breaking it down.
Especially when you see athlete, like the best player in the world right now is Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now it's easy to say like, oh yeah, obviously because you can pass and shoot and whatever, but no one thought that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at Giannis. You have to look like Giannis to be the best player in the world. You can't be Shea. You can't be Jokic and Shea, this pudgy, oversized white guy that can barely dunk at 7 foot tall, or Shea, who's an athlete to normal people, but in the NBA, he is not that athletic.
Yeah.
You know, like those are the best basketball players in the world. And so when I see that, I go, okay, there's more to being an athlete than just your athleticism. That's a huge part of it. But especially when we're thinking NBA, I go, yeah, you're probably not an NBA body type. But I neither am I when I was a post player. Now, had I been playing point guard as a kid, okay, things are a little different. Maybe I have a chance, but I was stuck in the post.
Yeah.
6'4" as a post player, not very good. I'm 6'6" now, 6'6" post player in the NBA, probably not going to get it done. But had I been a point guard when I was younger, okay, maybe an opportunity. Look at you, and it's like, okay, well, NBA probably out of the question. But I
Yeah.
look at college, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of guys in college that they're not the fastest runner, they're not the highest jumper, they're not the best shooter, they're college. There's so many more ways that you can be successful because it's not about being a genetic freak athlete. But now you're taking over that, and it's like, okay, the better shape you can be in, the stronger you can be, the faster you can be. Obviously, it helps, but there's so many other skills and things that you can do for a team too. Some teams need a. I always say this, like, man, I sometimes you need a 10th player.
Mm.
Sometimes you need a
Yeah.
10th player. So sometimes you go into tryouts and be like, hey, I'll be the 10th player. But then it's the small goals, right? That's not saying just practice and train to be a 10th guy, but it's like do whatever it takes to get on a roster. Because
Yeah.
once you're on a roster, now you do whatever it takes to be a starter
Mm.
or first off the bench. I just want to be top 7, first guy off the bench. Then try to be a starter. Now try to be the main player. And it's just like, yeah, you just follow those small goals over and over. And I think that's what, when you talk about beliefs, I think that's part of it. It's not about losing 100 something pounds. It's just lose a couple. Just lose a couple, and then once you see that it's possible, okay, now you're good. Now that you've seen it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I had I really had something else that you reminded me of from you're talking about just the idea of just taking those little steps and like just set the goal to get on a roster and then kind of iterate from there. I think that yeah, I've noticed that within myself with also like content. Like I make very different videos than I did when I first started. And so I've been kind of trying to dial in exactly what my message is and what I want to promote to people. And so I guess that's something that's still like a work in progress, to still constantly evolving. But I guess yeah, just becoming more comfortable with making mistakes along the way and like being able to just be transparent about, the ups and the downs with my journey and not feeling like I need to always like look perfect or like do everything the right way all the time. Because I feel like I have a tendency to do that, especially with content. So I've been trying to be more transparent about that and like document more of my journey and not be as curated, I guess, about things sometimes. Because I think it's important for people to see things like that, because I know that's been very helpful for me, and just being able to, I guess, yeah, just have a sense of like confidence or like, I guess, camaraderie in the sense that like I see somebody else that's struggling with the same thing as me and how they're like working at it and chipping away at it over time. Like that helps me and that inspires me. And my trainer tells me that as well, that like seeing me push myself and work hard is inspiring to him in its own right. And I'm like, yeah, I never really like, I guess, yeah, I don't want to say like give myself credit, but I look at the things like you said, like with Nesco, like I look at the things that I do as normal now because it's just like a habit. I do it every day. And so I don't really, sometimes I feel like things that I do aren't like important to show people, but I do think that I live a pretty I guess non-traditional life, like training to be an athlete at 26-year-old is not like a common pursuit. So I think that I should try to be better about documenting more of that process and like showing more of like the lifting and like what I'm eating to lose weight in the process, things like that.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. You talking about content. I think it has started changing to that direction. I've noticed, like, obviously, you look at my second channel and third channel, they're growing.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not keeping up with my main channel as much because it's a lot more work,
Yeah.
but it's also because people appreciate the authenticity on my second and third channel. Like, I
Mhm.
just get on there and talk, and I talk
Yeah.
about my life experiences, but my coaching, and they get to hear it just for me. It's not edited and curated, and I'm not planning it out beforehand. And people appreciate that. It's coming from a real person who they can talk to and they can see. So
Yeah.
I do think that's important. Embrace the normality, embrace the being a real human, and embrace the mistakes.
Yeah.
Because my story is way more interesting than someone who had the silver spoon and they had the pathway through the top all the way. They don't have a lot of life experiences, but I
Yeah.
can preach the amount of times I fell down, the amount of times I got cut, the amount of times I failed. To me, it was like another story. It's another battle of resiliency. I built so many skills through all those things, and now it's kind of molded me to who I am. So I do think it's important to document that stuff, be authentic, and that's what people are looking for. I also wanted to touch on, you were talking about not giving yourself enough grace, and that's a life skill I had to learn. I've talked about it. I'll just briefly say it. I won't go. This will be a story for another time. But I was that team that I went to where they offered me to be the director of coaching and play. I walked into there and I tried to, my whole thing was I always tried to be humble. I always tried to I didn't want to celebrate myself or whatever. And I didn't do a good job of basically saying why they should hire me. And I was like, the basketball will speak for itself, whatever. And as I was leaving, I was waiting outside because my former teammate was in there. He was the guy that got me to come over in the first place. So he was in there talking to the president. And then the president came out and was like, dude, we were just going to let you go. But then he told us that you were MVP, led the league in scoring, all-star 5, said that you did this in college, said this, all these things, that you do coaching, you do all this stuff. And I was like, oh, like I didn't say any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'd love to play. Yeah, I'd love to help. Yeah, I'd love to, all the basic stuff. And he's like, we were just going to move on to the next guy. But he was like, as soon as he told us, we were like, yeah, we want him. So he's like, you got to do a better job of selling yourself. And I was always really uncomfortable with that for a while, but then that really stuck with me. And for the rest of my life, I've always tried to do a better job, not clickbaiting, not selling a false idea, but I tried to live up to the standard that I wanted to tell people. So who are you? And it's like, okay, I want to be the hardest worker so that whenever I go into an interview, I go, I'm the hardest worker on the team. I want to be the best player in every drill so that people will be like, who are you? I'm the best player. I'm the best player in the league. I want to win MVP so that I can say I'm MVP of the league. So I started doing things kind of selfishly, but that I could sell myself and tell people like, this is who I am. This is the work that I've done. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. And again, you're not always going to be good enough, but it's good for me to be able to look at those moments and celebrate the small wins. Damn, this guy said that I didn't play in the NBA. He's right. I guess I kind of did fail. Wait, hold on. I got MVP this. Hold on. I did this. I did this. Hold on. Never mind. Don't listen to this guy.
Yeah.
It's good for those sort of moments. So celebrate the small wins, get better at selling yourself. Again, don't sell a false idea, but deliver on the things that you say you are. And I think that's super important. The whole reason everyone's always asking, why do you wear Ninja Turtle stuff? Why do you have all this? And for me, it's a reminder of when I was, I'm mixed, half black, half white. And as a lot of mixed kids struggle with that identity when they're younger. So I didn't really fit into the black kids exactly or the white kids exactly. I had friends in both, but I was too white for this group, too black for this group, whatever. And I was always just trying to fit in, And then, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. Sorry.
So I was always just trying to fit in. And then as I started going through that identity crisis, I guess, in 4th grade, I started figuring out who I was. And then I got to a point probably in high school where I realized hold on, I'm just me. I don't have to fit into other groups. I've got friends in all these different groups. This is who I am. So for me, it became a thing of no, I'm just going to be myself. And I kind of want to celebrate that all the time. So the things I like, so Ninja Turtles or whatever, I don't watch Ninja Turtles still. I don't play any of the games, but it reminds me of who I was as a kid. And I think there's something funny about going to these one-on-one basketball tournaments in the hood of Detroit. And I'm walking in with a Ninja Turtle hat. Me being I'm comfortable being myself. I can do my own thing. I look at these jerseys. I was thinking, what are the first jerseys that I want to get? And, I've got 4 women's basketball player jerseys. I've got 4 men's jerseys. For me, it's I'm not embarrassed to put the WNBA jerseys up there. I watch more WNBA than NBA. So I think there's a lot of lessons that I've learned about being myself, celebrating myself, and letting people know who I am that allows people around me to kind of feel comfortable and be themselves as well. And so I think you're kind of the journey that you're on and the things you're battling with and you're going through, it's things that other people can identify with. So your trainer saying, man, it really inspires me. Like I said, watching a video, I was inspired because it's I remember being a kid and I remember being that age and having doubts. And I remember being having obstacles that I had to overcome. And then I remember that feeling of finally overcoming them, so
Yeah.
it's like I said last time, I see a little bit of myself in you. So it's the same thing. You're going to be that person for other people. So when you said you're trying to find your niche, you're trying to identify all that stuff, it's like, yeah, just keep figuring out who you are. And again, I'm constantly trying to figure out every day, who am I? What am I good at? What do I like? What do I dislike? What will I stand for? What are things that are non-negotiables for me? Constantly reshaping who I am. But then it lets other people around me kind of do the same for themselves.
Yeah, yeah, I've definitely noticed that within myself when I am around people who are confident being themselves. I'm more confident being myself, and yeah, so I definitely have been trying to be better about that and like be that for other people. Sorry about the camera; it
No,
died. I
that's all
don't
right.
have the backup battery with me,
That's
but
all right. Maybe I'll put
yeah,
just
also
put a picture of you over it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I also related to the identity thing. Like growing up, I'm half Mexican. My mom's Mexican, but like I grew up in Compton and it was all black people and Mexican people. And the black kids thought I was too nerdy. So generally I thought I got along with the Mexican kids until I went to high school and I went to a super nerdy school. It's one of the best public schools in California. And yeah, it was everybody's nerds. And so all not all, but the majority of the black kids there were like Nigerian or just African
Mm.
kids that were very studious and nerdy. And I was like, oh, I found my tribe here. Like these are my people. So I'll like yeah, I still have a lot of friends like from high school that I still talk to this day. So that's been like a cool experience. And yeah, just like I guess noticing that like you can be into anything, you can be nerdy, you can like basketball, whatever. And there are people who are going to think that that's corny and there's people that think that that's cool, and just being able to accept that and just figuring out how to find the people that you resonate with and the people that enjoy the things that you enjoy is what really matters. So just trying to be better about being authentic, being myself, and just finding the people that can relate to me and that can grab on to my story and take something from it and be inspired by it in some way.
Yeah, and there you go. You just asked earlier, what makes a good coach? That sort of stuff right there, right? Like, so being able to have those conversations, build that confidence with people, letting them feel comfortable in their own skin, on their team, in their role, all that sort of stuff, I think makes a good coach. Then obviously understanding the basketball side of it, constantly improving your X's and O's. But I think this part is so important, and this is the part that so many people miss out on.
Yeah.
Did
Well,
you
yeah,
go?
yeah. Well, I mean, unless you have another question for me, I got maybe about 5 minutes.
No, that's all right. I don't think I had anything else. I wanted to do another call because, like I said, I feel like I rambled. I rambled too much, if you can't tell. But wanted to make sure if you wanted to have another conversation, we could, and always open to having more conversations too.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. It's yeah, it's definitely been fun talking to you. I've learned a lot, and also just I think you've given me insight onto what I need to be evaluating about myself. Because a lot of times I think I try to look for concrete answers and
Mm.
you usually don't give those. And I was like questioning like, is that something that I need to have in general? Like you don't have to have a definite like I guess plan or like a super structured idea of what to work on or what to do. You kind of just like I said, just move in a direction and just figure things out along the way.
I always say, I think I said this earlier. I always say next best step.
Mm.
So whenever you said, how much training should you do in 20 hours, it's like, I don't know, but maybe do this much of this, this much of this, this much of this. Like just do that.
Yeah.
And then after you've done that, you go, okay, maybe I tweak this a little more, tweak that. It's just next best step.
Right.
And most people try to get to their goals all in one, but I'm like, nope, next best step. If you just keep taking baby steps towards like your overall goal, you'll look back in like a month's time or two months time and be like, damn, I've actually accomplished a lot of goals I didn't think I was going to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been noticing that as well. Even just like yeah, something as simple as like when I played that one game, those games of one on one on Monday. Like for years, I've been trying to just work on like I've been doing like two ball dribble drills and tennis ball drills and things like that to work on getting the habit of being able to use both my hands at the same time. And like for the first time, like like I've been doing that for so long, and then I played in that game, and I was like actually using my off arm, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this has become a habit now. Like it's
Now
starting
this
to
is the
like
thing.
click. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's how those milestones happen. Like you just have a goal, work towards it. But the best thing is if you can have 12 things going at once. I really
yeah,
want to work on my offhand. I want to make 8 out of 10 threes. I want to make, you have 3 or 4 going. And it's like, oh, I can use my offhand now. Let's add another one. Let's add my next goal. It's like I said, next best step. You just keep doing that, and eventually it just becomes a habit. I always say like learning how to learn is like the best skill.
yeah, yeah. I think also like I've been better about, especially recently, just asking questions, and that's why I was really excited that you wanted to speak to me, because I've always yeah, I guess just sought out mentorship, or like people that have been where I'm trying to go in some capacity, and just being able to talk to people and ask questions and just learn.
Yeah, it's the speed running basically. Ask other people how they did it. It's way simpler than trying to figure it out by yourself.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right,
All right, man. Well, like I said, always available. So if you want to send me a message or reach out, always happy to have a chat.
all right, man. Thank you. I
All right.
appreciate the time, and yeah, I'll definitely reach out.
All right. Cool, man. Take care.
All right, you have a good one.
All right. You too. See ya.